Hello, kids. King of the Table 13 is this Saturday, Atlantic City. So, prediction videos, match analysis videos are all the rage. So I'm gonna jump on that bandwagon and do one myself. First, I will go through and I'll list who I think are all the favorites are, and then I'll go back and pick out who I think is going to win. I've got 2, maybe 3 upsets I think I'm going to predict. I don't know if this is the complete or the correct or the latest match list. Facebook, and it's one thing is arm wrestling's growing. The ability to search match cards and stuff and events has gotten worse and worse and worse. So I pulled this list off the internet. It looks like the last flyer I saw. So Kevin Palco, Joseph Maranto, I don't know what his name is, how to pronounce his last name. I think Kevin's the favorite. I don't know much about Joe. Kevin's just an up-and-comer. Joe comes highly recommended from John Brzenk, so that's a pretty big feather in his cap. I seen Joe pulling Larry Wheels and some practice matches, but I haven't seen him pull anybody substantial. You know, Kevin beat Vazgen, so lately I don't know the history or the context of that match, but I'm picking Kevin as the favorite. Paulin versus Krasimir Kasadinov. I think Krasimir's the favorite. Corey West versus Tobias Barong, left-handed. I haven't seen Corey pull right-handed in a while. Oh man. I think Corey's the favorite. Matt Mask versus Marcio. I think Marcio's the favorite. Those guys have pulled each other a bunch. I just think Marcio's more versatile. I think he would be the favorite. Lachlan Adair versus Lars Robakken. Lars was a major threat for a while. I guess he's working his way back. I haven't seen him. I saw him pull recently, but he's had a hiatus for a while. So Lachlan's been pretty active lately. Could be a coin toss. I think Lachlan's probably the favorite in that match. Dave Chafee versus Gabor Bata Dukat. Dave Chafee's the favorite. Anybody who's got 3 names. Gabor Bata Dukat. You know who else has 3 names? Lee Harvey Oswald. All right? He killed somebody's favorite president. John Wilkes Booth killed my favorite president. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer, 3 names. Craig Andy Davis, 3 names. So I don't think if you are in that club, you're the favorite. Sandra Cedrus versus Rustam Babayev. I think Rustam would be the favorite on that. That one's kind of a hard one for me to pick who people would think would be the favorite, but I think Rustam would be the favorite. He's been very active lately. Was able to throw Irakli into a hook on one match and beat him. Attempted a hook, couldn't quite get it, beat him on side pressure. I think in that case, I think Rustam's the favorite. Gabby Vasconcelos, Brazilian Gabby. I love Gabby. Gabby's my favorite. Gabby's my favorite arm wrestler, but this Barbara from Slovakia, I'm sure she's the favorite. I think everybody thinks she's the favorite. The last time they pulled, she dominated Gabby. Spoiler alert, that's one of the upsets I'm gonna pick. Who's next? Brian Shaw versus Eddie Hall. I think Brian Shaw's the favorite in that. The analysis of that match is going to be kind of funny. I think it's going to be more down to who's a better coach, Devin or Neil. We'll get into the analysis later, but I think Brian Shaw is probably the hands-down favorite on that, just based on size. Jerry Catarat versus Levan Saginashvili. He's the one who tried to kill Thor in that movie Extraction 2. I think Levon's the favorite. Spoiler alert, another upset. Man, I pulled a neck muscle, training, side pressure. I'm gonna have to stop soon because my neck hurts from training. My elbow hurts. My neck hurts. The rheumatism is acting up. I think a storm's coming. I just had way too many birthdays. Oh man, that just hurts. This is nowhere near what I need to be lifting. Had a tough practice Saturday. Today's Monday and I'm still sore and beat up. All right, first match, Kevin versus Joseph. They're 154 pounders. They're both highly recommended for you folks. I get a lot of times people ask me, how do you get into East versus West? And I know there's qualifying events. Ask these two guys. I don't know what they did to, how they got to be selected in here, unless it was just recommendations. I think Adam Silver recommended both Kevin and Joseph, and of course John Brezink knows Joseph, so that might have been enough. You might be able to get on just, you know, maybe it's like joining the Freemasons or the Illuminati. You just need to be recommended. Oh, gee, I'm not gonna lift any weight today. Joseph looks tough in the hook. He looked really, really good against Larry Wheels. I know Kevin. I trained with him about 6-7 times a year. Kevin's hook's good. What I haven't seen from Joseph is a shoulder roll. Kevin had a decent shoulder roll about 8 months ago. He's been working on it. His shoulder roll is very, very good now. He's got the ability to really generate some force and some power in it. And his shoulder roll is probably capable of pulling in a like 95 kilogram class. So I think Kevin wins that match. It might be a blowout either way because they might be close. It's hard to figure out how that's gonna go. I think they're both cops. Kevin's a cop. I think Joseph is a cop or is trying to be a cop. So I don't know. Is it rude to hope they both lose? I don't know. But when it comes down to cops on cops, I want my cop to win. Paulin versus Krasimir. I think Paulin wins that. He's from a lower weight class. Paulin's bigger than me and he pulls a smaller weight class. Krasi is better at the start and that can dominate a match. I think they're both very accomplished hook pullers. Oh, fuck. I'm gonna go down a weight. They're both very accomplished hook pullers, but I think Krasi has a better start. I think Paul has a better top end. I think he's better at grinding it out, the longer matches. I think this match is at 105. So this might be the trick we need to get. I mean, I think Paul Lynn's going to feel a lot better at this weight without having to cut. I don't know why he cuts so much. Like I said, he's bigger than I am and he competes below me. I think Paul wins that one. You get 3 false starts before you lose a match. If Paul times those goals and, you know, isn't afraid to consume his false starts and negates Krasi's better start, I think Paul wins that. Matt Mask versus Marcio. Matt Mask is a wild horse, and that wild horse has one trick. But to be honest, that one trick has carried him a whole lot of miles. Well, he's Canadian, a whole lot of kilometers. I think Marcio's more versatile. I think he can press, hook, and top roll. Matt's top roll is probably better, but Marcio's more versatile. Marcio is also an elbow foul generating machine. That guy, I think that guy starts collecting elbow fouls at weigh-ins. That will hurt him. It's hard for me to pick how this match will go. I think Marcio is likely to win, but I think, oh, it wouldn't surprise me if Matt Mask wins. That's whoever set that match up was good. That was a good match, and those guys have history together, so they've been studying. It's really hard to predict that match based on history because they both adapted. They both know what they need to do. Man, I can't get this. Wait up. What's next? Lachlan and Lars. Lachlan's been a pretty consistent player. He's probably a decent second string. Lars I haven't seen in a lot. He's coming back. Making these comebacks after a time off is hard. I'm giving it to Lachlan just because he's been more competitive recently. And he didn't look real good in his match against Krause, but I texted him, I talked to him about that. He had an assignable cause for that performance. I believe it, so I think he'll come in and I think he'll beat Lars. But it's hard to say because Lars is like a new person now. It's not, the Lars pulling today is the one I don't know. Dave Chafee versus Lee Harvey Oswald and John Wilkes Booth. Don't know anything about that kid, okay? But I do know Dave. Dave is hot and cold. Sometimes he shows up on fire, and sometimes he breaks my heart. But I think he's got just way more experience at this level. Man, this is not a good day for me. I think Dave wins that. I think he's the favorite, and I think he wins it. Sanders versus Rustum. I'm picking Rustum because I've never beat Rustum, and people who beat me, so they're above me, I root for them because the better they are, the better I am. Conversely, if I beat somebody, I root for the person I beat because the better they are, the better I am. Sanders hasn't beat me and I haven't beat him, so I don't think Sanders is gonna win. Gabby versus Barbara. She's like 5 foot, 14 inches tall, like 270 pounds. This Barbara is like the same size as Dave Chafee. Why she's not playing basketball in Slovakia is beyond me, but she dominated and devastated Gabby last time. But Gabby has like near perfect arm wrestling form and near perfect arm wrestling strategy. I just absolutely love. Gabby's my favorite arm wrestler. Not my favorite female arm wrestler, my favorite arm wrestler. Just like her, just get in there, bite your tongue, grind it out, and just bang. She's like 170 pounds and like 4 foot 13 inches tall. So that's a true potential giant slayer match. I think Gabby's she's gonna approach us differently. She's had a long time. I think that match between them last time was like over a year ago. It's about half of what I thought I was gonna lift today. It's killing me. I hurt everywhere and my teeth hurt. So yeah, I'm picking Gabby to beat Barbara. Barbara's a lovely girl. I like her a lot. Last time I was in Turkey, I had dinner with her. She sat at me and Susie and the Scandinavian girls and Barbara all had dinner together. She's just a darling girl, but Gabby's my favorite. Brian Shaw versus Eddie Hall. Brian's the favorite. I think Brian wins. I don't know if it's said, like I said, I don't think they've both been training very long. Eddie Hall, being trained by Neil Pickup, looks a lot more comfortable on the table than Brian Shaw does. Eddie looks like he's been arm wrestling for a couple of years. He's got a pretty good top roll. He's got good body movement. He moves around. He uses the whole table. Brian still looks a little stiff. Brian stands like too square of the table, and he just arm wrestles like like beginners do still. Eddie's working on his hits. I don't know if Brian's doing any sort. I don't know how much table time Brian's doing. I don't know what his hit looks like. I think Brian's got all the advantages to win, but if Eddie hits him outside, gets a good hit every time, he can put Brian in some bad shape. When you're a beginner, you need a lot more table time than gym time, which is opposite of me. I believe you need a lot more gym time than table time, but I'm not a beginner anymore. I haven't been a beginner for decades. Yeah, I think Brian wins that, and I think he wins it with funny little beginner form and stuff. But I'm telling you, Eddie looks pretty good. That last video I saw of him training with Neil. Now Neil was still handling him pretty well, so I think both Brian and Eddie are probably would be competitive with our 80 kilogram type people, 85 kilogram people. I mean, Neil was containing Eddie pretty easily. I mean, maybe even our 75 kilogram people. I think that's the level they're at now. It's hard to it's just so hard to tell by looking. But Jerry versus Levon. Levon's got to be going in here like Levon's probably a 50-30 favorite with 20% going to the refs. But, you know, you need an inside move to beat Jerry. You know, an outside move isn't going to beat Jerry's press. He'll knock you off the pads or he'll press you. Levon's got a good inside move. Levon's got probably a better hit, better strength, better containment. I think Jerry's got better endurance. Jerry don't quit. And now, Levon's had time, when Levon pulled Hermes, Levon looked pretty tired. If that was a best of 15, I think Hermes was gonna end up winning that match. Levon looked really, really tired. He got gassed pretty quick, pulling against Hermes' outside moves. If Jerry can make it long, and that match is gonna be, they're gonna spend an hour setting up. Then it'll be the ref script. Then it'll be an hour. Then there'll be a straps. And then that match is gonna take forever to set up. And then the matches themselves are gonna be long. You know, remember Jerry pulled a 7-minute match. Okay, there ain't too many people pulling a 7-minute match and getting back up there, especially if they're over 300 and some pounds. Levon's hard to beat. He's probably the near perfect arm wrestler in the world. I just think Jerry's got the ability to beat him. All right, get your pay-per-view. Support this event. It should be a good one. They got a really good card. The Brian Shaw, Eddie Hall would be interesting, and I'm looking forward to watching these two 154 pounders. Okay, kids. Bye. Call your mom.